too. Have you ever looked at a map and noticed something weird? Find New York City. Now find Madrid, Spain. They sit at almost the exact same latitude. Yet in winter, New York is freezing, while Madrid is often mild and pleasant. Go even further north. Boston is on the same line as Rome, and Minneapolis lines up with the sunny south of France. So, what's going on? Why does so much of the United States get hit with brutal Arctic cold, while Western Europe enjoys surprisingly moderate weather? It's not luck, and it's not a coincidence. The answer is a powerful ocean current that acts like a planetary heating system. It's called the Gulf Stream. Let's break it down. Latitude is supposed to determine how much sunlight a place gets. So, in theory, places on the same horizontal line across the globe should have similar climates, but they don't. In January, the average low in New York City is around 26 degrees Fahrenheit. In London, it's about 36 degrees. That's a 10-degree difference, and that's just the average. Now compare Chicago and Paris. Chicago's winters can plunge way below zero. Paris, on the other hand, rarely sees a sustained deep freeze. The key to understanding this goes back thousands of years and involves how heat moves around our planet. The Earth doesn't distribute the sun's energy evenly. The equator gets way more direct sunlight than the poles. So nature created a balancing system. A giant conveyor belt of ocean currents. Warm water moves north, cools, sinks, and then moves south. The most important part of this system in the Atlantic is the Gulf Stream. It starts in the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, flows up the eastern coast of the United States, and then makes a sharp turn northeast, crossing the Atlantic Ocean toward Europe. And that's where everything changes. TALS. As this incredibly warm water reaches the North Atlantic, it releases an enormous amount of heat into the air. The prevailing winds, which blow from west to east, then carry that warmed, moist air directly over Western Europe. Think of it this way. Water holds heat way better than air, so the Atlantic Ocean is basically storing tropical warmth and delivering it straight to Europe's doorstep. That's why the UK stays relatively mild despite being as far north as parts of Canada. It's why Norway's coastal cities stay ice-free, even though they're near the Arctic Circle. Meanwhile, the United States doesn't get the same benefit, especially inland. Why? Geography. Look at North America. There are no major mountain ranges running east to west in the center of the continent. The Rocky Mountains run north to south. So when a giant mass of frigid Arctic air forms over Canada, there is nothing to stop it. It just plunges straight down into North Dakota, Minnesota, Chicago, and sometimes all the way down to Texas. That's how we get those polar vortex events. It's an uninterrupted river of cold air. Now, compare that to Europe. The vast Atlantic Ocean sits directly to its west. So instead of getting blasted by Arctic air, Europe often gets maritime air that has been warmed and moderated by those ocean currents. In simple terms, America is exposed, while Europe is insulated. Disease. Why cities in the Midwest and the Northeast, like Minneapolis, Detroit, and Buffalo, experience what's called a continental climate. Scorching hot summers and bitterly cold winters. They are far from the ocean's moderating influence, and land heats up and cools down very quickly. Western Europe, on the other hand, has a maritime climate. There, the water smooths out the extremes, so even when cold air does arrive, it's already been softened. This climate difference has shaped history. Milder winters helped Western Europe sustain agriculture at much higher latitudes. Ports like London and Amsterdam stayed busy all year round, allowing trade to flourish. Meanwhile, the early American settlements in New England had to survive much harsher winters. Crop failures were common, and simply staying warm was a matter of life and death. Climate influenced everything from architecture to migration patterns. Now, here's where things get a little concerning. Scientists have observed that parts of this Atlantic circulation system may be weakening, not stopping, but slowing down. If the Gulf Stream weakens significantly, Europe could get colder. Winters might become harsher, and weather patterns could shift dramatically. While a complete shutdown isn't likely anytime soon, even small changes can have big impacts. It's a powerful reminder that climate is about global systems all working together. Even though the Gulf Stream flows right along the US East Coast, its main warming effect continues on toward Europe. Yes, Coastal cities like Miami and Charleston benefit, but as soon as you move inland, that protection disappears. The sheer size of the American continent just amplifies the temperature extremes. So, to sum it all up, why is the US so much colder than Europe? 3 big reasons. First, the Gulf Stream acts like a heat pump, transporting tropical warmth toward Europe. Second, Europe's location next to the Atlantic Ocean moderates its climate year-round. And third, North America's geography leaves it wide open for Arctic air to plunge south without anything to block it. It's a combination of ocean physics, wind, and geography. The next time you see snow in New York but just rain in London, you're not seeing randomness. You're witnessing a planetary heat engine at work. A delicate balance that keeps billions of people warm, lets them freeze. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden systems that shape our world.